Torah introduces a very interesting prohibition at the beginning of this week's Parsha, which is lo yachil dvaro, that when a person makes a vow, there's a Torah prohibition against their violating that vow, against their following through on what they committed to do or not to do. And when you think about it, it's very interesting. The Torah gives us so many commandments, so many instructions. If a person happens to make a vow, there doesn't seem to be any fundamental sanctity with the fact that the person made this vow. If it was really important, God would have instructed us to do it. This is a person's own idea as to what they should or shouldn't do. Why is it so important in Hashem's eyes that we must follow through on it? Why? Of course, one could give various answers. Rav Dessler has a very interesting essay in which he explains that when a person makes a vow, that means that they're so moved, they're so inspired that they want to do something to capture that inspiration. I'm so inspired by such an idea that I vow to do this or not to do that. And Rav Dessler explains that that spark within a person is so unique and so extraordinary. And what a chaval, what a tragedy it would be if a person was so moved to make a vow and then just let that spark die away and didn't follow through on the vow and didn't fulfill the vow. And because inspiration within is so essential, Hashem makes it a Torah prohibition to not follow through on one's vow. It's remarkable to reflect on that message, that power of the human spark, the human feeling, the human inspiration. And I think it's very, very worthwhile to reflect on as we begin the 9 days. We've had about a week or so, we'll have another week or so of focusing on our mourning for the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. And we get it. We understand the Beis HaMikdash is really important. We Jews are missing something terrible by not having the Beis HaMikdash. And so if we want to connect to our nationality, if we want to connect to who we are as a people, we need to mourn the loss of the Beis HaMikdash. That intellectually makes sense to us. But we have a very, very difficult time relating to it. And maybe we should reflect on this idea that one of the goals of the 3 weeks and the 9 days and Tisha B'Av itself is somehow, some way to spark inside of us a feeling of longing for Hashem. I don't know what the Beis HaMikdash was. I don't know what it was like to have a Beis HaMikdash. But I do know that when there was a Beis HaMikdash, if a person went to the Beis HaMikdash, they had a stronger feeling of connection to God than they would have without a Beis HaMikdash. Which means that because there's not a Beis HaMikdash, I'm not as connected to God as I could be. My life is not as spiritual as I could be. Our nation's existence is not as spiritual as it could be. Let a person connect in some way to that emotion. Let a person have a spark of longing. Yes, I want to have a Beis HaMikdash, but the reason I want to have a Beis HaMikdash is I want my life to be more meaningful. I want my life to be more spiritual. In addition to checking the box of mourning the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash, if we can connect for even a fleeting moment, in that way, we've created a spark within ourselves. And maybe, just maybe, we discourage vows, but maybe, just maybe, when we create that spark within ourselves, we can lift from that and grow from that and indeed become closer to Hashem. And if we do become closer to Hashem as individuals and as a people, that in its own right should act as a tremendous merit that the Beis HaMikdash should be rebuilt speedily in our days. Have a good Shabbos.